Today I'm going to cover the wall-assisted press handstand. So this isn't eccentrics against the wall, this isn't other drills against the wall, this is the actual full press to handstand, but using the wall to assist us. Now this could be to bang out more repetitions, it could be to assess certain elements, it could be to use it to spend time under tension in gaps that you can't quite do in the actual press yet. Now I'd recommend most of you use this drill as an assessment, not as an exercise. So I wouldn't be doing lots and lots of repetitions over sets and reps and days and sessions. I would just be using it to check in. Can you do a press here? Can we spend some time in those areas and understand what elements we need to work on, and then take those bits away and then work on those to hopefully help you strengthen the press you already have or get your first press to handstand. Now, first of all, there's a little bit of a prerequisite. We need to make sure that we have a little bit of strength through our wrists and a little bit of confidence and strength in the shoulders. If we're new to handstands, this probably isn't the best drill to start with. Again, you'll find out quite quickly if it's too hard on your body. Here you can see me doing lots of different presses with the same setup. So the distance my hands are away from the wall stays the same, whether I'm doing a pike press, a straddle press, a tuck press, and then I even come down to tap into like a crow position and come back again. My distance from the wall stays exactly the same. So that sweet spot in terms of where my hands are, where my shoulders are, and what that creates with the hips is very important. And it will be the indicator to see whether you actually can use this drill to do a full range press or not. Now, because of that very planched position, this is the bit we need to be very careful of. The wrists are going to take a smashing if we keep the fingers pointing forwards. So I turn the wrists out. For when I'm teaching this, for when I'm doing reps myself, I'll always turn the wrists out. So a couple of prerequisites you can start to work with is the like straddle forward leans. So if I'm in this position, I'm going to transfer weight to my hands, and then I'm going to push up onto my tiptoes and come back again. So that's transferring weight into our hands. It's protracted and pushing forwards into our back. So we want this like rounded, strong position. We definitely don't want to be collapsing through there. And that's the same position when I come up to the wall that I want. So push that back into the wall. And all we do for the setup, we need to be a little bit careful, but don't get too far away from the wall too quickly, because we're going to start to collapse because we create this void between our hands and the wall. So what distance do my hands need to be away from the wall? The easiest way of doing this is to first start with the hands as close as possible to the wall, and then just see how much weight you have in your feet. Now, if your hands are very close to the wall, it's going to be impossible to get the weight out of your hands unless you're very, very flexible. I'm going to go nice and close to start with. I'm going to take my head towards the wall. Then I'm going to guide the back of my head, upper back, and then I'm going to try and push weight into my hands, push weight into the wall, and I'm pushing at that angle, so up and forwards. Not just forwards, we want up and forwards to help pull ourselves up. So then slowly move the hands backwards, and what you should feel is this will allow you to take your hips higher, allow you to transfer weight forwards into the wall. So when I'm going into the wall, I'm protracting and pushing my upper back or my mid back into the wall. The more flexible I am, the higher this will be. So if I'm very flexible, it's going to be up sort of mid lower back. So slowly take the hands out to a point where your toes start to feel light. So back of the head, shoulders, and then push. I can't reach. I'm also trying to pull in. I'm trying to pull my legs towards my torso. So I'm trying to squeeze in, which will help to make the legs lighter. So I don't get up, so move the hands a little bit further back. Same thing, head, back of the head, shoulders, push, protract, push, push, push. Now I can get up. So I could even refine that a little bit further and move back a touch, or I could just sit there if that's good for me. And make sure in that top position when you get all the way up and your feet is touching the wall that you push your shoulders away from the wall and get into that open handstand. So it's like you're a stick and you just land the stick up against the wall. So it'll look like this at the top. So if I'm against the wall, here, now I push off. There's my handstand. There's my straight line. I want that. I want to come back with control back to there, and I should be able to do the eccentric all the way down, kiss, and go back up if I've got the right setup. In that top position, very important, we do what's called a trap free raise, and I pull my shoulders away from the wall and then go back again. This is a great movement by itself. So three main areas here. We have the distance the shoulders are in front of the hands. We have the articulation of the spine as you go through the movement. And then we have the open and closing of the hips. So some people are going to find it easier to go through like a tuck. So you just bend the knees and bring yourselves up. Some will find it easier to go through the straddle, and some somewhere in the middle like a frog position. It's unlikely that you're going to find this the easiest in pike. So if the hip movement is a challenge, it's probably a combination of flexibility and mobility. So strength through the range and or flexibility. So if it's flexibility, we want to be working on lengthening and conditioning the hamstrings, the adductors. So anything that takes us towards straddle, middle splits, and forward fold positions, just to make sure that we've got no restrictions through that path. Then we also need to be working things like straddle ups, weighted straddle good mornings, and then eccentric presses and things to strengthen through that range. So that's the hips. The spinal movement, again, is going to be dependent on your flexibility. If you're very flexible through the hips, you can actually stack your hips much higher. So your range of motion that's needed through the spine in terms of the articulation is less. You won't actually be rounding as much. There is definitely benefits to be able to round and articulate each segment of the spine. But if you're much more flexible, you can bypass that on the standard press. Understanding and conditioning the protracted planche position is really important for this movement because we need to be able to take the shoulders quite far past the hands and be able to push with strength into the wall. So remember, be careful with this drill. Watch the distance the shoulders are over the hands. Be careful of the wrists. If they hurt, turn them out. If they still hurt, stop, change the drill, work on the limitations. So whether it's flexibility, conditioning, or strength, and then come back and assess the drill again. I'll be interested to know your thoughts on this drill. Any questions, stick them in the comments below. Thumbs up and subscribe would be appreciated. And I'll speak to you next time. Thanks, guys.